So, why is it that a lot of relationships that we hold begin to fall away as we start to shift our identity? So, before we can actually move on to the next level of embodiment, we must first shift our identity. There is no other way to access or embody high levels of consciousness. We must actually make the space within our energy field to start to embody the high levels of consciousness. And as we begin to shift into our new identity, we move through many different themes and layers. And one of the biggest themes that we often experience during this process is that our relationships begin to shift and change. And for many people, this can be such a lonely and uncertain time because as human beings, one of our deepest needs is connection with others. So when we move through this stage, we often find ourselves questioning, what is happening? Why are people falling away? Or why are relationships that once felt really aligned not feeling the same? Why am I not resonating with these people anymore? And often we start to feel a little bit of shame around this, or we can feel all different emotions and guilt. And what actually happens is this stage is it's a hard stage to go through. It's not an easy shift because we don't fully understand what is happening. And sometimes we can receive projection from the other person that makes us feel bad about ourselves or guilty, or we might even start to judge ourselves or even be judged from others as being a bit of an asshole or whatever it is that they say about you. But this actually needs to happen on an energetic level as we start to purify our own fields. So I want to kind of demonstrate to you what actually happens. So this is your, and I'll just move this here, hopefully you can see it. This is your energetic field here. Within that energetic field, you hold all of the things that you carry, such as your emotions, your beliefs, your patterns, your karmic patterns. You hold so many different things within that energy field. And as you begin to shift and change your identity, you start to purify your field. So you start to work through these, doing shadow work in whichever way you do that. And once you start to move through them, you start to create more space, more coherence within your energy field. So essentially, you're making room for your higher levels of consciousness to start to come in and be embodied within your field. But this is where many of us get stuck, especially in terms of relationships, because we don't actually understand from an energetic perspective what's happening within our field. So many of us, and a lot of us go through this, are not only carrying our own energy, we are also carrying the energy and especially the responsibility of others. And so this starts to intertwine within our field. And this can look like feeling responsible for someone else's emotions, their beliefs, their patterns. We take on their choices, their healing, their own journey, feeling like we have this sense of responsibility to either bring them with us or to help them. And what actually happens is this often creates a deeper attachment, almost like an invisible obligation to maintain that connection with these people out of responsibility. And so when we do this, we create these energetic attachments. So imagine this is your field, then you've got overlapping of other people's energy in your field, whether it's your family, it could be the clients that you've worked with. If you don't understand that we can often overexert ourselves into someone else's energy field, you'll be holding onto a lot of these mismatch, these limitation patterns and experience of other people. So imagine that you have this and then you add in another 10. So these are all the ones that you've accumulated over your lifetime, all the relationships. Imagine how many energetic intrusions, attachments, and crossovers that you need to start to untangle to essentially create the space to embody your own level of consciousness. And so, this is why relationships begin to shift and change when we start to shift our identity and we start to work through these patterns. It's not always about just cutting someone else off or removing them from our life. we need to look at addressing first and foremost the energetic responsibility that we hold for them within our relationship. And the interesting thing is that once we start to um, look at this, the relationship will then start to take its natural attrition. So, here is what you can do instead of immediately cutting the other person off. Just allow yourself to come back into your own energy, sit down and start to do some self inquiry. You might like to do some journaling. And there are some specific questions that you can ask yourself. So, the first one is, where am I holding responsibility for this person? Bring this into your awareness and observe it. The second question is, where am I taking responsibility for their emotions? Then ask, where am I taking responsibility for their healing? And ask, where am I taking responsibility for their own journey? And as soon as you begin to start to bring this into your awareness and have this understanding that that's what you're doing, and you start to release it, something really interesting happens. The relationship either just naturally falls away because the energetic attachment was a responsibility that was holding it together, or the relationship actually begins to strengthen because it's now based on a healthier connection, on a healthier foundation rather than responsibility. And you are standing in your two separate energetic fields. You are connecting from a place of your own embodiment without the mismesh of the energetic fields of the other person. So give this a try and see if it is responsibility that you're holding. I know for me, when I really started to inquire and look at this, I was holding on to so much responsibility for so many people in my life that was holding me back energetically and holding these connections in place. And when you begin to start to release what was never yours to hold, you start to create this beautiful space to embody more of your high levels of consciousness. And you start to come into alignment to who you truly are and what you're here to do. And there is just such an amazing feeling that comes with this. So I hope that this video helps you today. Don't forget to subscribe and like my channel for more teachings around ascension embodiment. And I look forward to connecting with you on the next video. Bye for now.